Hi, I'm Kylie, and I'm going to be presenting on the Klamath River Renewal Project. So, the Klamath Dam Removal Project is the largest of its kind in history. The project involved the decommission and demolition of 4 hydroelectric dams along the Klamath River. These are Copco 1, Copco 2, J.C. Boyle, and Iron Gate dams. They were all constructed between the years of 1918 and 1962. These dams significantly disrupted river ecology, degraded the water quality, and deeply impacted indigenous communities dependent on the fisheries for their cultural and economic practices, as well as their general livelihoods. This research investigates the ecological and social cultural consequences of the dam's presence and the potential, as well as the observed benefits of their removal. Taking information from environmental reports, indigenous perspectives, and historical context, I looked into changes in water quality parameters and found that while the initial removal led to a temporary decline in water quality, many parameters have since improved beyond pre-removal levels. This environmental restoration and cultural healing go hand in hand. For the Klamath, Yurok, Kuruk, Shasta, and Hupa tribes, the river is more than a resource, it is a living relative. The dam removals not only aim to restore fish habitats and ecological function, but also help revitalize indigenous sovereignty, ceremony, and identity. By combining scientific data with indigenous knowledge systems, this paper highlights how ecological restoration can serve as a pathway toward the environmental justice and cultural renewal. So I found an environmental impact report and a water quality data report to look at how the removal of the dams are affecting the water and hence the fish and indigenous communities along the Klamath. So using select data from 3 USGS sites, I made graphs on Excel showing averages throughout the years of different parameters at these locations. I used my graphs and compared the data to what the Environmental Impact Report, or EIR for short, had for its criteria, and also used EPA fact sheets for more general senses of what's considered good and bad within the parameters mentioned. So these figures all include averaged out data collected in the month of January of 3 consecutive years, 2023 to 2025, and 3 separate USGS sites. There are 4 dams, and so the USGS site that is above Fall Creek near Copco kind of accounts for both Copco Dam 1 and Copco Dam 2. So the water quality parameters that RES collected continuous data for were dissolved oxygen, average pH, water temperature, and turbidity. So dissolved oxygen represents the amount of oxygen in water available to aquatic organisms, and it's necessary for the support of fish growth activity and spawning. An average pH of the water should always be between 7 and 8.5, which it is in this graph, so that is always good. And temperature is critical for the fitness of many aquatic species, and these fish do much better in colder waters. The issue with the dams was that they were increasing the temperatures of the waters. And you can see in the graph that it did in fact go back down after they took the dams out. And turbidity is a measure of water clarity, and the EIR states that the turbidity can't increase more than 20% above naturally occurring background levels. You can obviously see that in 2024, the turbidity at all the sites had a really, really big increase. This is because the sediment load that was just sitting behind all of the dams came rushing through the river all at once when they destroyed the dams. So slowly but surely, it's going to get better and better, as you can see in the graph, and it'll end up getting back to the clarity that it was before the dams were removed. So the water quality was diminished when they first started removing the dams, like I said, but most of the water quality parameters have gone back in 2025 to levels that were even better than those in 2023. One big change has been the drastic increase in turbidity that might take a little bit longer to clear up. These improving conditions provide hope for restoration of this river. The river is who they are, and without fisheries, without the river, they cease to be Hoopa, Yurok, and Kuruk peoples, is a quote from Hoopa Valley tribe member Brittany Orona. So the removal of these 4 dams on the Klamath River will improve water quality and in turn the health and number of these fish and lamprey populations. It will also give the Yurok, Kuruk, Shasta, and Klamath tribes back an important part of their culture and livelihoods lost as a result of the construction of these dams. One shortcoming on this topic is the fact that the dams were all very recently removed, and the river is going to take probably 10 or so years to be fully restored to what it once was prior to 1918 when Kopko 1 was built. So right now the data isn't great, but in the long run we will see an improvement, a drastic one at that. And if I had more time, I would want to find water quality reports that date back as far as possible so I could get a really good look at any like historic changes. And I hope to benefit from this research in the future by being able to understand parameters and what the numbers indicate if I'm ever reading or working with another water quality report. Here's a list of resources I use to produce all my results. Thank you.